Hi, I'm Stuart Ellis. I play Riff Raff in the Rocky Horror Show, and I'm going to answer some of the questions that you sent in for me on the website.
It's astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness takes its toll. But listen closely. We're never getting up to I've got to keep it going. I remember during the time I was dreaming those moments away. The blackness would hit me and the blood would be calling. Let's keep the time on again. Let's keep the time on again.
Hello, it's Stuart Ellis playing Riff Raff again. As you can see, I'm not in the costume anymore because I ran out of time before to answer your questions and I've had to get changed. So you're getting me as this, which I know isn't as attractive, but if you can make do with the red eye and the makeup that's probably still smothered all over me, that would be great. So let's get cracking with the first question.
Stuart, your first question is from Nathan Harrod. How does it feel after playing a Phantom for so long to suddenly change?
Thanks for your question, Nathan. Well, I always understudied Riff Raff since I started as a Phantom back in 2006. So I'd played it quite a lot throughout the last couple of years. Yeah, it was strange actually to go from Phantom, who of course most of you know was called Barbara, without a second A after the R. It was strange, something that you've been doing all that time, being used to suddenly be thrust into a principal role, which I suppose gives you more responsibility, and making sure that you were doing it to the best every night, with your lines and all of that, because of course the Phantoms, we don't have lines as Phantoms, we just sing. But that is of course integral to the piece. So it was different transitioning from just a singing role to one that's got lines and singing, but I love it.
Alice Carter asks, I saw you as Frank in Portsmouth and I would just like to say that you were an amazing Frank. My question is, do you find it easy to adapt to different roles, especially Frank, because of the shout-outs from the audience?
Well, I loved playing Frank. Thank you, David Badella, for being off 25 times. Thank you. Do I find it easy to adapt because of the audience shout-outs? Well, Frank's one of the only parts, as well as the narrator, that can retaliate with the audience, you know, and give a bit back, because obviously we're not allowed to as any of the other characters. That is quite daunting in one way, because Frank's the one that controls it and keeps it all together. But in another way, it's really nice because you can let the audience in a bit more and play with them. So, whilst I love the challenge of playing Frank, as in new lines, new singing, fronting the show, it was really nice to have the audience on side, which they always were, and they were brilliant and very supportive. So I suppose their interaction did help, but it was fabulous.
Jennifer Dawson asks, how do you keep a straight face when moving the wheelchair cutout between the screens, as David never seems to be able to? I'd just like to add that this is of course when you take it on.
Now that's not fair, Phil, because there's only been one incident where I've not taken it on and that wasn't my fault. And then it did come to me later on from Mark Leslie, who plays one of the Phantoms. It was delivered for the final bit. So it did actually make an appearance. But that wasn't my fault. Anyway, do I keep a straight face? Well, how do you know? Because I'm behind the screens. I have to say, between you and me, I can't. How can you keep a straight face doing that behind the screen? You can't. David can never keep a straight face. It's very easy to make him go. It doesn't take much. But as long as I know that I'm doing my job properly and doing the puppet work that I was taught by Mervyn Miller, then I'm happy. And that's probably all I should say on it, really.
This is a question that's been being asked to everyone. Melissa Stokes has asked, have any of you ever been tempted to interact with the audience due to heckling, even though it is said that only Frank and the narrator are supposed to do that?
Well, I'd like to say I've never been tempted to react or heckle back, but I have been. That's not to say I've done it. Not in the vocal form anyway, because I'm not allowed to, because I'm one of the other characters. I'm not Frank or the narrator, I'm Riff Raff. So, I'm not allowed to really. However, it has sort of given me a bit of a nervous twitch, and sometimes that might have come out. I should sit on my hands there because I can feel it coming back again.
Any moonwalking ever?
No, none of that, no. I've never moonwalked on stage whilst Frank's been humming a Michael Jackson tune. I've never done that, and I probably never will, because as you know it's coming to an end, and I'll probably miss the opportunity there. So yeah, I think Chris Luskin would be proud that I've stuck to my guns and done exactly what he's asked at all times. Honest. Sorry.
Another question that's been asked to everyone. Who would your dream narrator be if you could pick someone to play that part? And that was from Hannah May Metcalf.
Hannah May Metcalf, well, oh, that would be really difficult to pick just one. I've got a few dream ones, so I'll rattle through them. I would love Paul O'Grady to play it. I think he would be fabulous, very funny obviously. I would love it to be a woman. I'd like it to be Dawn French, or I'd like it to be Mel Gadrich, or one of the comedy greats. If only we still had like Hinge and Brackett, they'd be quite funny. Or Les Dawson, he'd be amazing, wouldn't he? But we can't, obviously, bring them back. So, I'm probably going to settle with Paul O'Grady, I think. Because we have to have a man, really, don't we? He has to be a man, a sort of powerful figure. And I know he's very loose-lipped. And he could really deliver the lines back to the crowd and get them going. But I think he'd be a bit too expensive now, wouldn't he? He's not on like £4.99 anymore. I think he's on a little bit more. But not as much as me. Don't tell anyone that. I have to turn Dave's music over first, because he always forgets because he's a bit old now. My line's about to come up. Ready?
Master! The laboratory is empty. Rocky has vanished. The new playmate is loose and somewhere in the building.
And that's literally how it's done.
The last question, again, is one that's been asked to everyone. As the tour draws to a close, what are you going to miss the most and the least?
The most and the least. Well, I'm not going to miss trying to have a pee whilst wearing my suspenders and space costume, because that's been very difficult, wearing the silver gloves and arm shields and holding the weapon that is the gun, and trying to, you know, siphon my python. That's been quite difficult. Getting it back in's been even more difficult. And sometimes there's been a little bit of dribble gone on, and hot legs, which has caused me to mess up my final notes a few times. I'm not going to lie. So I'm not going to miss that. What's been like the most memorable and thing that I will miss? Well, just think I will miss the fabulous songs from this show. I love listening to I'm Going Home. I'm very biased in saying that I love Riff Raff's Window bit of singing during over at the Frankenstein place. I love that. I love superheroes. And those melodies from those songs I just think are absolute genius, and I never tire of hearing those bits. I won't miss singing The Time Warp twice in a show. Although it's a great song and we all have a lot of fun, I think my voice has sung it 850 times by the time we finish. And there's only so much your throat can take. And I mean singing. Getting myself into a hole here, aren't I? It's just full of puns. So, as much as I love The Time Warp, I'm not going to miss it as much as the other songs. Of course I'll miss all my family. I'll miss David Badella and me sharing a few eye moments because we've been together for so long now. I will miss our fabulous narrators that come in and out because they're very funny. I'll miss having water thrown on me by Christopher Biggins on stage. I'll miss him touching me up and telling me that I've got to do what he says, otherwise he's going to leak stories on me. And I'll really miss spraying all of the cast and crew with Riff Raff's water jet spray, because he has one and he's allowed to touch it and use it, and sometimes the spray, instead of going in the hair, accidentally one of those arm flicker things causes it to go somewhere else. People end up very moist, very wet, very sorry that they messed with Riff. So thank you. Thank you for your questions. Really appreciate it. I hope that's helped give you a little bit of an insight into sort of what goes on or what doesn't go on. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye.